I have been with my partner on and off for 13 years. I don't say boyfriend at this point because it just feels like we're so far past that. We met when we were graduating high school and dated on and off into our early 20s. To be honest, he wasn't always the best to me during that time, but we were young and still figuring ourselves out. We broke up officially for about a year and a half. In that time, I dated someone else who I never felt the same for. I thought about him a lot, and he often tried to contact me, especially after I broke up with the guy I was seeing. We shared a lot of friends, and seeing each other was always kind of a punch in the gut. Feelings were still there. He tried to win me back, and eventually he did. Honestly, my heart always belonged to him. Things moved fast after that. We moved in together within a few months and have been together ever since. We now have a home and a dog together. Our relationship has ups and downs. I have depression and anxiety issues, and he has intimacy issues. However, we love each other, and I can't picture my life without him. He has been there for me through a lot. We had been discussing marriage for years, and I always just assumed it would happen when we wanted to have kids. It wasn't huge on my list because I thought we were already that committed, and it always seemed that's how he felt too. However, about 6 months ago, everything shifted. I happened to read something he wrote about me. It was in a Google document, and I stumbled upon it by mistake on our shared computer while I was working from home. He was contemplating why he hadn't married me after all this time, and he basically said that if he was honest with himself, in the back of his mind he knew he could find someone much more physically attractive than me, and that was holding him back. He went on to say that I had other, more important qualities, and that he knew that was a shallow reason not to get married. Let me just say, I broke down. I could barely get through my workday. Something about the way he said much more physically attractive broke me. It wasn't anything specific, just me as a whole. Like it was a given that he could do, not just a little better, but so much better, because I was just that unattractive or something. I did confront him after this, and he obviously felt terrible and tried to say he didn't feel that way, and he didn't know why he wrote it. He said he thinks I'm beautiful, but I just couldn't bring myself to believe him at that point. The fact is, he wrote it down. He felt it. He's obviously felt it for a long time. It wasn't something said in anger to hurt me, it was just how he felt, and he has every right to feel that way. I can't force him to find me attractive, but it eats away at me every day. I can't get it out of my head, and just when I think I have, it pops back up. I have never felt uglier, less confident, or more concerned about the way I look, and that says a lot, as I've never been all that confident in myself. I worked hard to gain what confidence I did have as an adult, and that's gone now. I started thinking about how rarely he complimented my looks, how we mostly had intimacy with the lights off, or sometimes spooned me from behind. I started second-guessing everything, wondering if he is closing his eyes or turning me around so he doesn't have to see my face. Just all this stuff adding up in confirmation. It's ending the life of me and our relationship. For a while, when he would just look at me afterward, I felt like hiding. I wondered what he saw and what he thought. I didn't want him to see me like I saw myself, and now I felt like he did. I still feel that way a lot. To complicate matters more, our intimacy life had been going downhill before this. We have been together a long time, and I felt like maybe that's expected, but now I would say it's only gotten worse. I don't initiate like I used to, because any type of rejection would just wreck me right now. Adding insult to injury, a few months after I found the Google document, I found out he had different accounts just to follow beautiful women. He didn't talk to them or direct message them or anything, and I don't in any way think he physically cheated, but he followed accounts and liked pictures. Lots of pictures and videos. When I asked him about it, he broke down crying and apologized. I could tell he was genuinely ashamed and sorry, but on top of what he wrote about me, it was just another blow. More confirmation that I'm just not enough for him physically. All the women were blonde and brunette and rather big-chested or curvy, the opposite of me. For reference, I am a petite auburn-haired woman, very much lacking in curves, with an AA cup. I know he loves me, I do, but I don't know how to move on from the insecurity that I feel. It was there before, and he knew that. And now it just feels like it's no longer my insecurity. Just fact. I have always known I was average and not exactly beautiful, but people always have acted like I'm at least a little more attractive than I gave myself credit for. I know now it's just them being nice, and I feel like this just reaffirmed every fear I had since I was a little girl. This person who was supposed to love me didn't want to even marry me because of the way I looked. Even after knowing each other for years and living together for 7 years. The real kicker is, now he wants to get married. He even had me pick out a ring. He says he wants kids, the future. Everything we planned on. I know he's trying, and I love him so much. But I just feel like I'm a consolation prize now. I want to not care. I try to remind myself he loves me in spite of this. That looks aren't important, but obviously they are. Especially as a woman, I know it matters. It held him back this long, didn't it? I feel like I should just forget it. Maybe it's shallow to care so much. I love him for the whole package. He is one of the most handsome men I've ever met. On top of all his other amazing qualities, his looks have never ever come into question for me, and I'm sad he doesn't see me the same. I'm very lost. I've tried to talk to him about it, but he's getting frustrated. There's only so much he can say, and honestly, words have never been his strong suit. I know he's trying to show me he cares, but I don't know why I just can't get what I read out of my head. I've questioned everything. I don't trust him like I used to. I want to forget. I want to plan a wedding to the man I love and be happy. I feel like maybe I am crazy for letting this bother me so much, but I guess that's just not how I pictured the person I'm with for the rest of my life feeling about me. Sometimes I wonder if he will be disappointed when I walk down the aisle. My mom is the only person I told, and she has told me I'm overreacting and that she's sure a lot of men have felt that way about their wives at some point. I just don't believe that, and it makes me sad if it's true. Any advice would be appreciated. How do we best move forward? Am I being unfair to him by stopping him from being with someone he's truly and fully attracted to? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. He wasn't a good partner in your teens. He wasn't a good partner in your 20s. He started his 30s off trying to win the 2024 Olympics for the worst partner, and I think he will win gold. He will never be a good partner. What frustrates me is that his insecurities and selfishness have torpedoed your self-esteem and confidence. This is not on you. He is the massive jerk for wasting over a third of your life. The only way you would be unreasonable is if you stay. He has proven over and over again that he doesn't care. A life with him will always be stressful and full of pain. Don't you want a relationship that makes you laugh and makes you feel light? I wake up happy to see my wife most days and genuinely love her. He is disgusting, and I hope you fully come to terms with how bad of a partner he is and how bad he will always be. Comment 2. OP, this hit me hard. I don't think this is an overreaction. Life really sucks sometimes. Just when your cloud is floating smoothly, some wind comes along and adds turbulence. I don't have much to say other than you are loved and adored. You have a purpose in this life, and your presence has an impact on many that you don't see or realize. We all want to be loved, adored, and thought of as pretty, handsome, the princess in life. It's hard to read something that hits your soul like this. I do believe everything happens for a reason. What that means to you, I don't know. But what I can say is you matter. You are beautiful in who you are, your life, and your being. The reflection of you by you is all that matters. Be well, dry your tears, hold your head up, and know you are beautiful. Best wishes. Update me. Now, for the update, I'm back again for round 2. I'm currently in my car parked outside my job because I don't even want to go home right now. I have to tell you about what happened since my last post. I got a text from my partner like a week after my last post. It said to meet him at a diner nearby. I was like, oh great, dinner and a show. He seemed anxious, which is not really like him. I thought maybe he was just not in the mood to joke around. I showed up and he's already sitting at the table, fiddling with his phone. He started the conversation saying he had something important to talk about. If I had a nickel for every time I heard that, I wouldn't be sitting in my car right now. So he tells me that he's been talking to one of our mutual friends about our relationship. At this point, I'm thinking, oh sweet, a couples therapist, finally. But no, instead he tells me that our friend expressed doubts about our compatibility. I felt like my heart was racing at that moment, and then he asked if I thought we should go to couples therapy. I was like, I don't know, should we? But I kept that comment to myself. Then he dropped the big news. He was unsure if he wanted to go through with the marriage. So there we are, sitting in this diner, and I'm like, wow, this meatloaf is really good. Just kidding. I mean, what else are you supposed to do? I paid the bill and we went home. We walked into the apartment, and you could almost feel the tension in the air. That weekend was my mom's birthday party. My partner was invited, but said he had work. I spent time with my family, trying to keep things light and not look like I'm about to start crying. I overheard my younger sister talking about her relationship challenges with her boyfriend. During cake time, my dad made a joke about me and my partner getting married soon, and my mom nudged me, asking if we had set a date yet. I wanted to scream, no, we're not getting married. We're about to go to couples therapy because apparently that's the thing to do. Later that night, I went for a walk to clear my head. My life was a mess, but at least I was getting my steps in. While walking, I bumped into my partner's friend, the one who had been part of the earlier conversation. He was surprised my partner was even considering therapy. That rattled me. I went home and confronted my partner about this conversation with his friend. He insisted he was just seeking advice and didn't mean to hurt me. We started arguing about trust and communication, and he accused me of being paranoid and overreacting. Wow, what a good time. Days later, he suggested we take a break from talking about the marriage. I was like, okay, cool, because we weren't talking about it anyway. During a dinner visit to my parents' house, I noticed my partner's social media activity. He had started liking posts from attractive influencers again. I brought it up at dinner and my mom dismissed it, saying I was being overly sensitive. My partner shrugged it off, saying it was harmless online activity. The week ended with him suggesting a weekend getaway to reconnect. I reluctantly packed for the trip, feeling a sense of dread growing inside me. As I was packing, he caught me and accused me of violating his privacy. The argument escalated, leading to hurtful words exchanged. I stormed out of the apartment, realizing that I was in a cycle I couldn't break. I just needed to escape from it for a moment. So here I am, parked outside my job, typing this out on my phone. I feel like I need a reset button for my life. I'm stuck in this loop and I don't know how to break free. It's like being on a ride that won't stop. Edit. I realize now that I didn't mention how my partner reacted to my last post. He didn't know I posted it and was shocked to find out. He apologized and admitted he messed up. Am I the idiot for ending my relationship because my partner's daughter cheated and might be pregnant? Am I the idiot for ending my relationship after my partner's daughter dragged me into her cheating drama? I was married to the father of my children, a 44-year-old man, for nearly 10 years before finding out about his massive list of infidelities involving co-workers, intimacy workers, massage parlors, you name it. I want to make sure to lead with that because I'm not sure to what degree this is impacting my views about the situation I am about to describe. I have been dating my partner, a 54-year-old woman, for a smidge over 3 years, just about the same period of time that their adult daughter, a 25-year-old woman, has been dating her boyfriend, a 25-year-old man. The daughter had a bit of a chaotic childhood involving multiple marriages on the part of both of her parents, a very enmeshed extended family, high conflict co-parenting, etc. She is a beautiful, highly intelligent young woman in her final year of graduate school with a bright future ahead. Her boyfriend is a sweet guy, a staunch Christian from a very traditional and religious family, in which not a single couple has ever divorced apparently. And I would describe them as a lovely couple. About a month ago, she came over to our house to let us know that her boyfriend was very serious about proposing. She even knew the week, and that he wanted to ask my partner's blessing. We responded enthusiastically, discussed possible wedding dates, all of the ways one would expect to react to the news about an upcoming engagement. About a week and a half later, she called and texted frantically looking for my partner, and confessed that she had just cheated on the boyfriend by having intimacy with a coworker with whom she continues to work and see daily. She expressed that she needed to confess what she did to someone, that it was a mistake, and that she would not be coming clean to her boyfriend because it would destroy him, and she still wanted to go through with the engagement. Frankly, I was completely shocked, both by the act itself and now the continued lies, especially once I heard that the boyfriend knew something was amiss and was inquiring accordingly. Fast forward to a week and a half later, when the boyfriend does come to our house to have a long talk with my partner about asking for their daughter's hand in marriage, which my partner discussed at length before giving their blessing. Honestly, I feel so disgusted and disappointed by the behavior that the daughter and my partner are displaying. I am finding it extremely difficult to play along with this ruse. I'm grappling with how much of this is my own feelings from being in a relationship where I was gaslit for years by my cheating partner. It feels like I am almost too invested in this situation, but I'm also expected to participate fully with complete enthusiasm. He's planning a huge engagement party for literally next week after the proposal, and I am struggling with what feels like being complicit in something fundamentally wrong. How do I proceed forward with this situation? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. The other question is, why do you want to stay with a partner that condones cheating? I get that she is protecting her daughter, but you are willfully destroying another person with your lies or lack of the truth. I get that it is not your business, but can you look the person in the eyes without guilt? Your partner and her daughter are trash and need to be taken out. Comment 2. This sounds unreal to me. Why in the world would your partner's daughter confess this to either of you? And basically dump her feelings of guilt and betrayal on you because now you have to perpetuate the horrible secret too? That literally sounds like an awful thing to do and basically roping you into a conspiracy. Have you told her that? Now, for the update, I'm not sure what I was thinking when I decided to stay with my partner after her daughter cheated on her fiancé. It was a huge mess, and I tried to keep my distance from the whole thing, but somehow I kept getting pulled back in. A few days after the engagement party, I got a text from my partner's daughter asking to meet up. She seemed anxious and wanted to meet at this quiet coffee shop near the university. So I went, and it was awkward. She was fidgety, and when she started talking, I could tell she was about to cry. Apparently, her fiancé found out about the cheating from a mutual friend. She said that he confronted her the day after the engagement party, and they got into this big argument. Now she was freaking out because she didn't want to hurt him. She was practically begging me to help her come up with a way to fix things. I don't know why she thought I could help. Not long after, the fiancé reached out to me. He wanted advice on what to do about the relationship. He mentioned that he noticed she had been acting differently since the engagement party, which made him suspicious. I'm pretty sure he already knew what was going on. The next thing I knew, we were having a family dinner, and the fiancé showed up unexpectedly, wanting to talk to the daughter. The vibe was so strange. Everyone could sense that something was off. The fiancé gave the daughter this heartfelt letter, expressing his love and confusion. He really poured his heart out, you could tell. The worst part was when he asked her directly about her recent behavior. I could just feel the air getting sucked out of the room. It was terrible. After that, he left the dinner abruptly, and you could see he was really upset and hurt. That was when I got a call from my partner, and she was furious about the whole situation. She accused me of not supporting her daughter enough during this tough time. I was just as confused as anyone else. Days went by with no communication from her daughter. I started noticing my partner growing distant, spending more time alone in her room. It felt like the whole family was falling apart. At a family brunch, the daughter finally confronted her mother about the lack of support. She said her mother didn't understand what she was going through, and it caused even more tension. My partner defended her actions, but then revealed that she felt betrayed by my lack of involvement. That really hurt, honestly. Then the daughter announced that she would be taking a break from her relationship to figure things out. A week later, she called, saying she needed to talk urgently. During the call, she said she missed her fiancé and wanted to win him back. That's when she dropped this big news. She might be pregnant from the affair. She wanted to tell her fiancé about the pregnancy, but insisted on having me there when she does. I can't even explain how I felt at that moment. I didn't want to be a part of this, but I felt like I had no choice. The day came for the confrontation, and we went to the fiancé's family home. The vibe was super tense when we got there. The fiancé was there with his family, and when the daughter revealed the pregnancy, his reaction was immediate and intense. I stood there witnessing the fallout as the fiancé's family became involved. It was like a scene from a movie, honestly. The fiancé was just devastated. I didn't know what to do. Edit, I didn't end up staying with my partner. I tried to be supportive, but it was too much. Her daughter was in a tough spot, but I had to take care of myself first. Am I the idiot for refusing to lie about my cousin's dangerous dog after it mauled me? Am I the idiot for refusing to lie about my cousin's dangerous dog after it mauled me? About a month ago, my cousin's dog attacked me, resulting in a trip to the emergency room and then having to undergo reconstructive surgery to fix my head. My cousin and I were very close. For the past 5 years, we have been catching up regularly and messaging each other every day. The amount of support she has provided me is immeasurable, and I will always be grateful for that. She's been my rock throughout some difficult times and has also been wonderful company on the weekends. My cousin and her boyfriend have a 4-year-old Doberman. He's not neutered and is quite reactive on the leash. I've met him numerous times throughout the years and sat in the car with him, and nothing has ever happened. He's never bitten anyone in the past, but he has barked aggressively at people passing by while in a parked car and has become quite vicious towards passing dogs while on the leash. His owners have joked that outside he's scary, but at home he's just a baby. He sleeps in their bed every night. Every time I came over, they would have me give the dog a treat so he knew I was family. Yes, I'm now aware that you shouldn't have to submit to a dog in order to simply be in the owner's house. When I went to the bathroom, he would follow me and run back, which they joked was him escorting me, and he was overall just really interested in me. On the evening prior to the attack, they showed me a couple of commands they had taught him and then had me demonstrate them. One was, give kiss, in which he boops you on the face with his nose, and the other was, give cuddle, in which you bow your head, and he bows his head and leans into your chest. He did both of these without any issues, and my cousin and her boyfriend praised him. The next morning, they had me give him his breakfast and say, give kiss, so he booped me on the face. I was a bit wary because I've always felt uneasy about him, but I did it anyway to prove myself wrong, I suppose. It went okay. How the attack happened. 15 minutes later, I was sitting on the couch, and the dog jumped up. I said, give cuddle, and he did, and then hopped off the couch and stood in front of me while I was still seated. I gave him a pat, said, give cuddle, and bowed my head. In a split second, I heard a growl bark, and my head felt like it had been shredded. There was blood everywhere. I began screaming and begging my cousin to call an ambulance. They wouldn't take me to the hospital until I showed them my head. The amount of pain and panic I was in was immeasurable. I thought I was dying. My cousin drove me to the hospital while her boyfriend took the dog to hide it at someone else's house. Upon arrival at the emergency room, she asked me to lie about whose dog it was and say I didn't know the dog. I cried and said I can't lie about it, and she said, I'm not putting my dog down. We went into emergency and were admitted immediately, and I had multiple nurses and doctors ask about the dog. She answered on my behalf that I didn't know the dog. I had nothing to gain from reporting the dog, but I felt so betrayed that she would ask me to lie about it. I wasn't even angry about the actual attack until she pressured me into lying. What's worse is that I know they're not going to do anything different with the dog. They won't neuter him, won't take him to a trainer, and won't put him away when people visit because they act as if I provoked the dog. She came to see me 5 days after the attack and was acting as if nothing had happened. I addressed the elephant in the room and told her that I was upset with her response to the situation and told her that I called the dog reporting hotline to get information on what would happen if I were to report it. I wanted to give them a chance to do the right thing and follow the protocols set out by the law: muzzle in public, high visibility collar, signage on property, immediate neutering, etc. But instead, she has stopped talking to me at all. She tried to blame it on me and said, "We have told you before that the dog doesn't like people in his space." And when I asked why they had me do those tricks with him, then she said, "We weren't there to reassure him when you did it in the morning, and that I shouldn't have done it." She's angry that I called the dog reporting hotline, even though I didn't report it. The trauma has left me feeling depressed. I had to undergo anesthesia and plastic surgery to reconstruct the gashes on my face and head, and now I have a big ugly scar on my forehead, not to mention the nerve damage. I feel uncomfortable around my own dogs now and have to stop myself from spiraling throughout the week. It feels like there is a massive hole in my chest. My cousin was such a big part of my life, and I feel lost without her. I haven't been talking to her because I'm so angry at her treatment of me during and after the attack, and she's not talking to me because I called the council to ask about what would happen to the dog if it was reported. How do we move past this and get our relationship back to normal? To add, I haven't reported it for 2 reasons. The first being that I was attempting to preserve our relationship, and the second being that I'm worried about retaliation from the boyfriend. For example, him provoking my large dog, baiting my dogs, or ending the life of my cats, etc. I just don't know what he's capable of, and I don't want to risk it. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. If she's sure you reported the dog, you might as well go ahead and report it then. It could save the next person that this dog bites. Also, dogs bow their heads to other dogs as a submissive or anxious gesture, so that doesn't sound like a great thing to be teaching this dog to do. It could be that the dog being encouraged to bow its head made it more aggressive than it already is. They honestly sound like terrible pet owners, especially if they know nothing about dog behavior. Comment 2. The fact that their instinct was to hide the dog says a lot. It was probably not the first time the dog has bitten someone. Added to that, your cousin didn't want you to go to the hospital. You mentioned being afraid your cousin's boyfriend would harm your animals. How? Would he break in, or are your animals outside and easily accessible? Now, for the update. 2 days after the attack, I got a text from my cousin asking if we could talk. I was like, sure, why not? I guess we have to deal with this at some point. We agreed to meet up at a local diner the next day. This diner was our spot. We'd shared so many meals there, laughing and talking about everything from boys to life goals. But this time felt different, like really different. So I got to the diner and she was late. No surprise there. When she finally showed up, she looked flustered and distracted. We exchanged those awkward greetings, you know the ones. I noticed a bandage on her arm and I was like, "What's that?" She explained that she got bitten by the dog while trying to control him after the incident. Really? Now you're the victim too? Things got tense real quick. She straight up accused me of ruining her life. I was just sitting there, stunned. She started going off about how this whole thing affected her relationship with her boyfriend. I mean, what does she want me to say? Sorry your dog tried to eat me? I pointed out that the dog attack wasn't my fault. Like, I wasn't even in the mood to argue about this. But come on. Then she had the nerve to say that I should have known better than to approach the dog. Are you kidding me? I reminded her how she downplayed the severity of the attack when it happened. 5 days after the incident, she basically said it was just a scratch. And now we're here? She mentioned she was thinking about getting rid of the dog. I was like, well, it's about time. But then the conversation shifted to the family's upcoming holiday gathering, and I felt this knot in my stomach. I didn't want to think about it. She expressed her desire to have the dog there, saying it was part of the family. I was like, no way. I told her I wouldn't attend if the dog was there. She laughed, thinking I was joking, but I wasn't. She got all serious and threatened to tell other family members a version of the story that made me look bad. Let's be real, she doesn't need to do anything to make me look bad. She does that all by herself. The next day, my aunt called me about the holiday gathering. She asked if I'd be comfortable attending if the dog was there. I explained the situation and told her I was really uncomfortable being around the dog. My aunt seemed sympathetic, but then said I should just get over it. Seriously? I detailed the attack to her, the aftermath, and how my cousin refused to take any responsibility. I could tell my aunt was a little surprised, but she didn't really say much. After that call, the family group chat went silent. It was so quiet. My anxiety shot up. I had no idea what anyone was thinking, and the waiting was driving me crazy. Later, my phone buzzed with messages, mostly expressing shock and concern. It was a mixed bag, but at least people were listening. One family member even proposed a solution, a dog-free holiday gathering. I was like, yes, finally. But then my cousin reacted angrily in the chat, accusing me of ruining family traditions. Oh please, the only tradition we have is avoiding her drama. To my surprise, the family ultimately sided with me. Everyone agreed to a dog-free celebration, and I felt this huge weight lift off my shoulders. My cousin, of course, accused me of being dramatic and threatened to skip the gathering. I was like, good riddance. On the day of the gathering, she didn't show up. That caused quite a stir among the family members. I don't know what she told them, but whatever it was didn't seem to matter because we had the holiday without any mention of the dog or the incident. It felt so good to just enjoy the day. After the holiday, my cousin reached out again, wanting to discuss things. I don't know what she wants to talk about. What more is there to say? To answer a few questions, my cousin's boyfriend didn't reach out to me about the incident, which surprised me. I think he knows he's in hot water because of my cousin. I didn't inform anyone else in the family about the dog attack. My aunt learned about it during our phone call. I was honest in that group chat about everything, and it was tough to share those details. I haven't decided if I'm going to talk to my cousin again. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.